How's it going, everybody? Blake here with Rambling Movie Takes, coming at you with a review for A Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, not the classic original movie that everybody loves, but the remake that is certainly divisive amongst the fans, mostly hate it. But I am going to explain why I don't hate it as much as the average horror fan. Because, look, most horror fans do not like this movie. And it's understandable why. And there are certainly a lot of reasons to hate this movie. And I have many reasons, I have many problems with this movie. I truly do. There are a lot of problems with this movie. But there's a lot of things that I really like about this movie. Like, I really, all right. Before I get started in this review, before I start diving deep into this movie, this will be a spoiler review. If you have not seen it, which, look, if you haven't seen it by now, chances are you may not want to see it. Or maybe you are interested in seeing it and you just want to, get my thoughts on it. So you know if it's worth your time or not, if you value my opinion that much, which I hope you do. So, with that said, let's get into the review. But one more thing, please like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, click that big red button down there that says subscribe. Hit it twice so that you'll be notified when I release future videos. And be sure to put a like on this button, on this video. Or, downvote it. Either way it helps. And it lets me know if I'm doing a good job or not. And I would greatly appreciate it. So, with that being said, let's dive into it. Alright, so, like I said, there are things that I like about this movie. There's quite a few things I like about this movie. And I'm going to talk about that before I get into the things that I dislike. And let me just be clear. This movie is a mixed bag. It is certainly a mixed bag. It really is. And again, spoilers. Alright, so first things first, I gotta praise Jackie Earle Haley for his performance as Freddy Krueger in this movie. I thought that he did a solid job. I think he did as good as anyone outside of Robert Englund could possibly do with the role. He made it his own. It was a darker, more serious approach that I did quite enjoy a lot. He did make some quips in the movie. He's trying to joke around a little bit with his victims. And, he's not really funny. He doesn't have the same charm as Robert Englund. But, it is what it is. I didn't exactly laugh at Freddy in this movie. And I think that's the point. But like I said, they did make some quips. He was making some jokes. But they were not landing. The this wisecracking Freddy was not as good as the Robert Englund wisecracking Freddy. So, that's my opinion on that. But, in staying with things that I really like about this movie, it's his performance overall. And, I also have to say that Rooney Mara was solid in this movie as well. And I know a lot of horror fans, even people that like Rooney Mara, and think that and think that she's a fine actress, which she is. They still criticize her performance in this movie, and they basically say, that, no pun intended, she was sleepwalking through this movie. And I can see why they would say that, but even a sleepwalking Rooney Mara was still, still very well sufficient for this role. But I am one of the rare people that will say that Rooney Mara as Nancy should not have been the main protagonist of this film. Like, I get it, Nancy in the original in Nightmare on Elm Street was the main protagonist. And I feel like if you're going to remake something, like, turn the original concept on its head and do something as original as you possibly can. Differentiate it as much as you possibly can. And where I'm going with that is, Katie Cassidy as Tina should have been the main protagonist of this film, in my honest opinion, because I will look, I will never make the mistake of saying that Katie Cassidy is a better actress than Rooney Mara. But in this movie, she was. In this movie, Katie Cassidy as Tina was more charming. She was more engaging. I found her to be a whole lot more interesting than Rooney Mara as Nancy. So Tina should have been like the protagonist in this movie, because Katie Cassidy, and look, it's her best role in my opinion. It's her best acting performance that I have seen her in. You know, I liked her in Arrow as the Black Canary, and I thought she was good in that, but I feel like she was on another level in this movie. So those are the standout performances of the film. Those are the three main standouts. Everybody else, was fine. There was nobody that I found to be, terrible, boring. Yeah. So another thing is the kills. The kills in this movie are actually pretty damn good, and they're entertaining. As morbid as that is to say, I'm a horror fan. For you non-horror fans out there, which I don't know why you're watching this video, you just simply don't get it, and that's okay. But the kills in this movie are absolutely fantastic. They are. They're more than pretty good. They're fantastic. I enjoy them quite a bit. Or should I say, gore-tastic. So, there's one kill in this movie that I thought, that to me, it stands out. Alright? And I feel it's one of the best, slasher movie death scenes, horror movie death scenes of all time. When Freddy killed Jesse, that was a great scene. I love that scene. I love the execution of it. That is one of the best horror movie death scenes in cinema history, in my opinion. Disagree with me if you want. It's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. So, yeah, I really love it. I love how, I love when he toys with Jesse, when Freddy's toying with Jesse, and, he's like, why are you screaming? I haven't even cut you yet. And then, Jesse's looking around, Freddy disappears, Jesse's looking around, and, next thing you know, Freddy, sticks his glove through Jesse's chest, and then it flashes back to him in the jail cell, where, you see, his chest is all, exploded, and he just falls dead on the ground. And his cellmate is, running to the door. He's like, get me out of here. I didn't do it. I didn't effing do it, And, then it goes back to Jesse and Freddy in the dream world. And Freddy's telling Jesse that, after the heart stops beating, the brain still is still going or whatever for 7 minutes. We still got 6 minutes left to play. That is one of the most truly terrifying scenes in horror movie, in all horror movies, in my opinion. And honestly, thinking about that scene is the main reason I wanted to review this movie. I certainly didn't want to review it because I think it's one of the greatest movies of all time, because I most certainly don't. But I really love that scene. But moving on. And then the diner scene at the beginning of the movie, I thought was really good. I thought it was executed really well. It's honestly probably the best scene overall in the movie. And, it's when Freddy kills Dean in the diner. And, you see where Dean is, struggling, and Freddy is, trying to, he's fighting to, cut Dean's neck or slit his throat. it's a gruesome scene, man, and it's honestly it was a great tone setter for the film. So, yeah. So that's all the things that I can honestly say that I liked about the movie. I pretty much disliked everything else, starting with the look of Freddy. I thought the look of Freddy was pretty terrible in this movie. Like, I get what they were going for. You know, they wanted to go with the like a more realistic, like, burn victim look instead of the more fantastical look that Robert Englund has in the original. And I like I said, I get it, but I just didn't really like it. I thought the look was pretty bad, honestly. Secondly, I would have to say that the story itself is very bland. It's by the numbers. It seems very safe. Like, you know, they tried to make some tweaks here and there to try to, like, put some original spins on the concept, but I honestly didn't care much for it, and I just thought it was boring. I thought the entire plot of the film was just, it's like I was just kind of like on cruise control watching it, you know, for the most part. And, you know, the fact that they made Freddy Krueger like a child molester instead of a child murderer, I feel like that takes away from the movie. Like, don't get me wrong, a child molester is, I mean, very creepy in their own right, but nothing compares to a child murderer, because that is, I honestly feel that's as sick and demented as you can possibly get. If you kill kids, you've reached a whole nother level of, you know, demented, whatever, you know, like that's a whole nother kind of psychopath right there. So, and that's something that the original has going for it, is that, you know, I thought it had a cooler concept in that Freddy was a child murderer instead of instead of this one that has him as a child molester, which I just didn't like it. I think that's like, if you ask anyone what their main criticism is of this movie, they'll probably tell you it's that they changed him around, they changed the character around a little too much and made him less scary. And they gave him a backstory. You know, they kind of dived into his backstory a little bit, and yeah, it takes away. It really does take away from the mystique of Freddy. Like, we already know his background in the original. He's a child murderer. They don't take the time to really, like, dive deep into his backstory like they do in this movie. So that's where I stand with this movie. As far as my rating goes, you know, I don't really know what to rate this movie, because I don't want to give it a positive grade. I don't want to give it a negative grade. I guess I'll give it, I would watch again. Because I would watch it again. But you can kind of take that as you will based on the overall review. I'm not really giving this movie a positive rating, but I'm not giving it a negative rating either. But yeah, that's my review, guys. So anyways, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And, you know, the subscribe button, for those of you that don't know, like I said earlier in the video, it's the big red button. You see it down there, it says subscribe. Click it twice so that you'll be notified when I release future videos. I would greatly appreciate it. And also, give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Whatever you feel like doing, all of it helps. And it lets me know if I'm doing a good job or not. And, you know, look, if I'm not doing good, let me know. Comment down below, let me know. You know, or if you just want to talk some Nightmare on Elm Street, talk some Freddy. We can even talk about the original. Let's talk movies. All right. Thank you for watching. Y'all have a good one.